Don't rejoice, Israel. Don't enjoy yourselves as other peoples do, for you have gone whoring away from your God. You love being hired as a whore on every grain floor. Threshing floor and winepress won't feed them, and new wine won't disappoint her. They won't remain in the land of Adonai. Instead, Ephraim will return to Egypt, and they will eat unclean food in Ashur. They will not pour out wine offerings to Adonai. They will not be pleasing to him. Their sacrifices will be for them like mourners' food. Everyone eating it will be polluted. For their food will be merely to satisfy their appetite. It will not come into the house of Adonai. What will you do at a designated time, on a day which is a festival for Adonai? For suppose they escape the destruction, Egypt will round them up. Memphis will bury them, and their precious treasures of silver. Needles will possess them. Thorns will be tents. The days of punishment have come. The days of retribution are here, and Israel knows it. Yet they cry, "The prophet is a fool. The man of the spirit has gone crazy." Because your iniquity is so great, the hostility against you is great. The watchman of Ephraim is with my God. But a prophet has a fowler's snare set on all his paths, and hostility even in the house of his God. They have deeply corrupted themselves as in the days of Givah. He will remember their guilt, and he will punish their sins. When I found Israel, it was like finding grapes in the desert. When I saw your ancestors, it was like seeing a fig tree's first figs in its first season. But as soon as they came to Baal-Peor, they dedicated themselves to something shameful. They became as loathsome as the thing they loved. The glory of Ephraim will fly away like a bird, no pregnancy, no conception, no birth, no pregnancy, no conception. Even if they raise their children, I will destroy them till none is left. And woe to them when I leave too. Ephraim, as I see it, is like Zor, planted in a pleasant place. But Ephraim will bring out his children to the slaughter. Adonai gave them. What will you give? Give them wounds that miscarry and dried up breasts. All their wickedness was already there in Gilgal. That's where I came to hate them. Because of the wickedness of their deeds, I will expel them from my house. I will love them no more. All their leaders are rebels. Ephraim has been struck down. Their root has been dried up. They will bear no fruit. Even if they do give birth, I will kill their cherished offspring. My God will cast them aside because they wouldn't listen to him, and they will become wanderers among the nations. Israel was a luxuriant vine, freely putting forth fruit. As his fruit increased, he increased his altars. As his land got better, he improved his standing stones. Their heart is divided. Now they will bear their guilt. He will break down their altars and destroy their standing stones. Now they will say, "We have no king because we didn't fear Adonai." What could a king do for us anyway? They mouth words, swearing falsely, making treaties, thus judgment spreads like poisonous weeds in the furrow of a field. The inhabitants of Shamron are frightening. The calf gods of Beth-aven, its people mourn over it, its priests tremble over its glory which has left it. It had been carried to Ashur as a present for a warrior king. Ephraim would be put to shame, and Israel be ashamed of his own advice. Shamron's king will perish like foam on the surface of the water. Destruction will come to the high places of Aven, that is, to the sin of Israel. Thorns and thistles will grow over their altars. And they will say to the mountains, "Cover us," and to the hills, "Fall on us." Since the days of Gavon, you have sinned, Israel. There they stand. For these arrogant people of Gavah, war was insufficient punishment. I wish too I will discipline them, and the peoples will be gathered against them to discipline them for their two crimes. Ephraim is a well-taught cow. It loves to tread the grain, and I have spared her fair neck. But I will put Ephraim in harness. Yehudah will have to plow. Yaakov will harrow his own land. You sow righteousness for yourselves, you will reap according to grace. Break up unused ground for yourself, because it is time to seek Adonai, till he comes and rains down righteousness upon you. You have been plowed wickedness, reaped iniquity, and eaten the fruit of lies, because you trusted in your own way. In your large numbers of warriors, turmoil will erupt among your people. All your fortresses will be destroyed, just as Shalman destroyed Beit Arbel on the day of battle, when mothers were dashed to pieces, right along with their children. Thus it will be done to you, Beit El, because of your great wickedness. At dawn, the king of Israel will be completely cut off. When Israel was a child, I loved him, and out of Egypt I called my son. But the more the prophets called them, the farther they went from them. They sacrificed to Baalim and offered incense to idols. Yet it was I who taught Ephraim to walk. I took them by their arms, but they did not know that it was I who was healing them, who was guiding them all through human means with reins made of love. With them I was like someone removing the yoke from their jaws, and I bent down to feed them. He will not return to the land of Egypt. Ashur will be his king, because they refused to repent. The sword will fall in his cities, destroying the bars of his gates, because they followed their own advice. My people are hanging in the suspense about returning to me, and though they call them upwards, nobody makes a move. Ephraim, how can I give you up or surrender you, Israel? How could I treat you like Admah, or make you like Zvoyim? My heart recoils at the idea as compassion warms within me. I will not give vent to fierceness of my rage. I will not return to destroy Ephraim, for I am God, not a human being, the Holy One among you. So I will not come in fury. They will go after Adonai, who will roar like a lion, for he will roar, and the children will come trembling from the west. They will tremble like a bird as they came from Egypt, like a dove as they came from the land of Ashur, and I will resettle them in their own houses.